This is a homemade broadcast radio production.
Whether your radio dial is set to music or news or talk, each could be offensive.
But when it comes to making waves on the air, dicey language and spicy topics are turning up all over the dial. If you're not a regular to this type of radio, here's a word of caution. You may find it explicit. You decide if Tampa Bay radio is blaring out airwaves or shockwaves. Turn on your radio and find wholesome family entertainment. Turn on your radio today and make your mother blush. Almost nothing is sacred these days when it comes to radio, except not losing the station's license. Radio personalities are pushing all the limits. You may find the language in this story explicit, but the Federal Communications Commission has never fined a Tampa Bay radio station. You be the judge. Are they airwaves or shockwaves?
I don't agree with all of it, but it's very popular.
Personnel, this is CVTS. Space vehicle pre-count operations will start on my mark at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It is the homemade broadcast. It is episode 493. My name's Will Kuntz, and I'm joined by my friend Anna Hummel.
Very prompt, very on time. Hello.
Very prompt. So prompt that you beat me here. You were sitting in the stream room alone for 15 minutes, for a whole 15 minutes early. And then I was the one who was late by a whopping 2 minutes to start this show because I was doing work for my day job work.
Yes, you were. And I felt so bad all the times I've been late in the past and will be in the future that I retroactively and proactively decided to do like 15 minutes early and hope that will make up, all of I don't know if that's how it works with tardiness, but it does to me. So now next week I'll probably be about 5 minutes late.
All right.
I'll myself some time in the future.
We're gonna count on that. But in the meantime, you started right around on time today, which is very exciting. By the way, you can get a hold of the show. You see the phone numbers down there. That's all the ways home _made_man down there. You see it on the bar, Venmo. If you're feeling froggy, I'll split that with Anna. HMB Radio on Facebook, HMBradio.com. Text or voicemail 813-693-2124. You can email us at thehomemadebroadcast@gmail.com. So you look kind of nice today. What's up with that?
Thank you. I know, very unlikely seeing as how I got home at 2:30 a.m. yesterday from Denver. Had a little bit of I'm working on a side hustle thing and had an interview about an hour and a half ago via Skype. So nothing to replace any job I have now, but just, to add to what I have now. So.
I know. I feel you. I'm right there with you. So what was it? Can you care to share what industry? I mean, you don't have to share the place.
Kind of what I'm doing now. I saw some female podcast co-host job available and decided to go for it. And true Anna fashion, when no one gets back to you, you go, okay. So I started researching the other co-hosts on the show, finding their personal social media, finding any emails associated with that social media, and then reached out to them. And finally, one of them got back to me, and it was the right person to contact because she's involved in the hiring process. So, at the first part of the interview, she was like, I don't know how you found my personal email, but seems like you're very determined. I'm like, yes, that's a great word.
It's usually just people's names. And then you try Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, just go down the list.
Yeah. So, I found her, had a good 20, 25-minute interview, and we'll see how it goes. It's obviously mostly for money, but also just like a fun new side project. So
what's the genre? It's just chicks only?
No, actually, it's men's lifestyle.
Okay.
I don't want to say too much about it, but it seems like how can I say this without, I don't want them to, they probably won't find this. It seems like, I'll just be honest. It seems like the girls on the show now, they're very attractive, but, terribly dumb. So I was like, maybe Maybe if they want a little bit to something to spice it up with someone who's not quite as attractive, but might be a little bit sharper, that might be something they want to add to the mix. So
Or maybe they want like a men's rights activist that is on a Hummel.
yes, if that's what they're looking for.
A
And
men
they
going
also,
their own way on a
yeah,
Hummel.
it seems like he's trying to diversify with so it's mostly like relationship stuff, and then he had a few episodes on politics, geopolitics, stuff like that. So I'm like, I feel like you could use me in a lot of
Mhm.
these videos. So,
Mhm.
anyways,
Yeah. All right. Well, good
yeah.
luck with that. How was your wedding?
Oh my god, amazing. Yeah, for those that don't know, I went to Denver, just got back today, this morning. It was amazing. It was great. Thankfully I knew enough people were not having a plus one was totally fine. And it's honestly, and I hate saying this, obviously I wanted Chris to be there, my boyfriend, but it is easier to just kind of, you
Pop
know,
around.
right, where it's not like, are you okay? This is,
Mm.
I could just kind of weave in and out and leave conversations I didn't, and excuse myself to the bathroom and disappear and reappear and just, hang out by the bar and get wasted. So it was awesome, beautiful. I was surprised at how emotional I got, but maybe I shouldn't have been because, man, the wine hit me hard.
Mhm.
I felt nothing, felt nothing, felt nothing. And then she walked down the aisle and I just started like weeping.
Mm.
I'm like, but why? And
Can
it's,
I interject a minute?
yeah,
Because I feel like our weekends are very similar, including the getting emotional part. So I also went to a wedding, but mine was in South Carolina and had a very similar thing happen when the bride started to walk down the aisle. Not tears, but got a little wet eyes
choking up.
a little bit. And I
Well,
think
what's
I'm getting
that?
more sentimental the older that I get. Maybe more nice. I don't know.
Okay, like what is going through your mind when you're getting verklempt? Are you like, this is her moment that she's dreamt about since she was a little girl and I'm here to witness it, sort of thing?
I think it was more just, yeah, it's like a special time for her.
Yeah.
And I felt like, and maybe it wasn't true, I felt like her and she was one of the first, because I'm sure when you coming out down the aisle, you're looking around to see who's there and who showed up to your wedding. And I felt like I was one of the first ones that she saw. Maybe
You
that
were like
wasn't the case.
close to the aisle.
No,
Like,
I was kind of like in the middle, but towards the back,
okay.
almost directly in the back. So I was probably one of the first people that she saw, and she let out like this glowing smile and looked radiant. And I don't know, I just was like, this is a beautiful moment that
Yes.
I'm able to be a part of and witness, and just knowing her for so long, and this fella that she's met, that's just the best guy ever, and watching them start their lives together with these vows
Yes.
that are man-made, true, under God, maybe, but basically man-made. It just gave me like, this is just nice. This is a nice thing that I'm getting to witness,
Isn't
and
it? It is, isn't it?
it
Now,
is.
I think there was an added element of uh emotion attached to this girl and this wedding because she's really been through the ringer.
Mm,
There's some people that just have really bad luck when it comes to dating men. Not dating men, but dating and, men. Um, she was
date men. She dated women too.
dated men, only
Okay.
men, but, she was cheated on multiple times. She was dragged from not dragged, but, moved from Arizona to Denver with a guy, and then a month into them moving states, he breaks up with her. That's one of the times I saw her. She stayed at my house. She was a mess. I got her laid down in Pacific Beach, if anybody knows where that is. Anyways, and then she returns back to Denver to, try to get it together, and they end up getting back together, her and this guy. And then he breaks up with her again a year later. Just stuff like that where it just kept happening over and over again. And to much of her credit, all of her credit, she never got bitter. She never hated men, and she never gave up on love.
Mm,
She was just like, he cheated on me. Like, and again, I'm not her closest friend, so I wasn't there for her in the sense of like, she's crying on my shoulder sort of thing. But even when I did talk to her, she's like, yeah, it sucks, but got to move on. Very much a like, get up and go, positive attitude. I'm not going to bring this baggage to the next relationship. And then, like, much like you, she found the guy who was just like a mensch, like the best dude. And they found each other, and I just wept. I just kept crying like the whole time. I mean, intermittently, but like I would just be like, "Oh God!" Someone give a speech and be like, "Oh, oh."
Yeah, I wasn't quite there at that point with mine, but it was definitely, I kind of compare it to, I was watching, and granted, I did have a few drinks that night, but I was watching the film Ridley Scott's Gladiator with Russell Crowe, which is a phenomenal film. I don't know if you've ever seen it or not.
Actually watched probably about 20 minutes of it about 2 weeks ago. So yeah,
Oh,
I've,
okay.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
Well, there's a very emotional scene at the end, and it's one of my favorite scenes from a film. Even when it first came out, I always loved it, but I found myself getting like really emotional and trying to hide it from my girl because I didn't want her to know that I was feeling emotion during a movie. I feel like, a wedding, it's fine. If she were to see me shed a tear or something, but knowing that it's a movie and not real, that one I really wanted to try to control. And then she was like, she noticed and she said something and she goes, what's going on? And I was just like, nothing. Nothing. But I think I got away with it just because, we were having some drinks. So, but
Yeah.
I'm becoming maybe even postmenopausal or something. I don't know what's going on with me.
I think men and women alike, but mostly men because women are allowed to be emotional their whole lives, but men get a bit softer as they get older, and I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. Even the most manliest and masculine of men, I hate admitting this, but I heard Andrew Tate talking about himself even getting softer as he gets older and more open to the idea of marriage. And again, this is a guy who's like, F the government and I'm going to sleep with all the women. And it seems like even he is coming around to the idea of like settling down and being compassionate and becoming a father and stuff like that.
Well, being
So
threatened by the state to be thrown in prison for the rest of your life might do that to you a little bit, might soften.
maybe that as well. Who knows? But I just think that, guys get a little, I don't want to say it's correlated necessarily with a drop in testosterone, but perhaps where it's just like you're not as aggressive and you don't need to be as aggressive anymore. And you're more open to the sentimental moments in life, whereas before you were just about, being masculine and macho. So
Mm.
I'm glad we both had a really good time at our respective weddings in our respective states. We
Yeah,
traveled. Yeah, there's an extra element of like, man, we really traveled to be here, and it's important to us, and I don't think that's lost on the bride and the groom. They make an extra special point to thank the people that came in from out of town.
So I don't know if this happened at yours, but I started getting text messages a few days after tested positive for COVID. Did you get any of those from your wedding?
No, I may have gotten COVID from a disgustingly sick woman on the flight back home last night, but no, nothing about the wedding.
Okay. All right. Because I know a few people that went down. I've been getting text messages. Hey, you might want to test. No, not. I didn't feel that great. And in fact, I was thinking about it like on Monday when so I had this debacle with the airline. Everybody has debacles with the airlines now. There's a competence crisis happening and things are falling apart. Civilization is falling apart. But I ended up getting home late on Sunday. So I was able to be home Monday for Memorial Day. And I fell asleep by the
How about
pool.
Labor Day?
What's that?
How about Labor Day?
That's what I said, didn't I? Labor Day? Monday?
Memorial Day.
Oh, Memorial Day. Sorry, my bad. Labor Day. And I was feeling fine, but I did fall asleep by the pool for about 3 hours. And thankfully, I got a pretty good base tan going right now, so I didn't get severely sunburned. But that could have been really bad. And then
you were not with, your girl is in Europe, is that right?
no, not yet. That's why I came home because everybody else came home on Labor Day.
Oh,
So I came home a day early to spend Labor Day with her and kind of hang out with her a little bit because she's leaving for 3 weeks.
Right. I was gonna say she couldn't have woken you up or.
Well, she fell asleep too, which I
Oh, well,
probably
she has a good base tan as well. She has very nice tan skin. So
yes. Well, I think I kind of freaked her out because I said, "Uh-oh, people are starting to announce that they got the disease."
oh, and
And
she's headed to Europe, so she's like,
yeah, so I was like, "Uh-oh, I shouldn't have said anything." And then yesterday I didn't really feel that great, but it's just like, I just got crud. A lot of people get crud when they travel, being on the airplane and whatever. So I didn't really think about it. So I very well could be pause right now, but I didn't have a fever or anything. I just had a little bit of, sinus gunk.
mm,
That was it. So I'm going to assume that I don't. Probably might though.
meh.
I don't.
Who
I mean,
cares? Yeah.
but I guess a couple of my friends are like really sick. This one got him good. The new variant. All kinker, kinker, many times. You can't see audio wise, but
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very grateful that the wedding did not happen 2 years ago during Labor Day because I don't think I would have been able to attend. I think that perhaps the people there would not have wanted or would have requested some sort of documentation to attend. But now, 2 years later in Denver, no one cares. So
that's funny. One of the people that's really sick right now, with that, had their wedding a few years ago, and it was mandated to have um, the thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Is what we call it.
Yeah, just in case things are getting weird again with the disease, so I don't want to get kicked offline. But they mandated that everybody have this procedure done in order to attend, which I ended up, we spoke about it at length for years, but I did get the J and my disappear. Okay, I'm back. My internet's being funky.
Yeah, I
today.
saw it glitch for a second.
It's like slowly and then it'll get better, and then it slowly gets worse, and then slowly gets better. Anyway, so the one who mandated, who is I'm sure is boosted and everything, is very sick right now. So that's interesting.
That is interesting. That's a great word to describe what's going on. Is interesting.
It's back, man.
Yeah.
It's back with a vengeance. Yeah, I don't think we won't even want to get into that. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see if any of your folks come back and say, "Hey, I just want to let you know if you want to get get tested, I'm pause," and go through the whole rigmarole of that whole thing.
Yeah. Hopefully not. Also, I don't know what you had on the menu for today, but maybe something that's kind of funny a little bit. Burning Man.
Yes.
LOL. Actually, it was funny because one of the girls that I don't know if I can call her that because she let me know that she has she's fluid with the pronouns ordeal. So whatever this person is, I think she has 2 X chromosomes, so we'll just leave it at that. I saw her at the wedding, and I'm going to call her her. She was wearing a floor length dress, okay? And I went up to her and I said, "That's an interesting accessory you got there." And she said, "Oh, this?" And she had this cast all the way to her elbow.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "Yeah, I got that this morning. I just got back from Burning Man." And oddly enough, she was one of the lucky ones because she got out, didn't die, wasn't dehydrated or anything. She just broke her thumb in 3 places. So she's like,
Ooh.
never thought I'd be the lucky one to say, I just got out with the broken thumb.
Yeah.
But we were getting updates during the wedding about the pandemonium of being flooded in.
So this is Burning Man, from what I
Yes.
can tell. I got it up on the screen here. By the way, if you're listening on Radio St. Pete or podcast, we do a live stream every Wednesday about 4 p.m. unless Anna's late or I'm late, which happens very rarely. Very rarely. I'm always on time. Most of the time, Anna's late. Today, I happen to be late. Okay, sometimes it does happen. What is Burning Man? Because this is what I picture right here. And by the way, you can join us live on willsyoutube.com for the live stream. If you're listening later on, this is not live. But anyway, and you get visuals like this pretty lady here who appears to be on some sort of drug, whether it be mescaline, What's the other one? Ketamine, some sort of drug. She's got a funky headdress on, and she's riding a BMX bicycle. What the heck is Burning Man? I don't even really know. Johnny and I were talking about it last night, and Johnny thought it was a music festival, and I said, I don't think there's music there.
No, there is. It's
There is.
a
There's not
music-
bands. It's not like Coachella.
It is kind of. It's music / art. So it's a music and art festival, and essentially, you have about close to 100,000 people that go to what is it, Death Valley, right? Death Valley. I don't know.
It's in like Black Rock
Black
Desert.
Rock City. Yeah, whatever.
In Nevada.
Yes, they go there, and I think it's a 2-week festival. So people
It's
get
a large scale
yeah.
desert camp out focused on community art, self-expression, and self-reliance held annually in the Western United States. Its name comes from its culminating ceremony, a symbolic burning of a large wooden effigy referred to as the man. It occurs Saturday before Labor Day. It's been going on a long time. So I don't know. It's got it's just a bunch of rich hippies, right? That's what Burning Man is. Hippies with money.
Well, I don't think originally that's what it was, but it has become that. Much like Coachella has been co-opted by obnoxious millennials and Gen Zers, and it's just about fashion. I think Burning Man is just a similar thing. People who have a little extra disposable cash, they go and do a bunch of drugs and just see all the craziness unfold. But now it's more about getting it, doing it for the gram. Back in the 80s or the early 90s, it was about, true immersion into the experience of the burn. But now it just seems like it's just a fashion statement.
Have you been? I feel like probably no, but also knowing you, maybe.
I almost went or was really considering going back in like 2011, but I never ended up going. And at this point, I feel like I've missed the mark, and I don't want to go, which should be a big component about really doing anything in your life. Is you should probably want to do it. Now I've lost the ability or the drive to go and commit 2 weeks of doing that. I can't do drugs back to back. I can't do them 5 days in a row. I can barely do them one day. So I don't know how that would work.
Right. So it says this is the burning of the man, the wicker man, is the Celtic pagan practice of burning live sacrifices in human-shaped wicker images.
Very Bohemian Grove-y,
Yeah. It seems like not
but anybody can go. It's not just for rich, white heads of state.
Well, it's like a few class level. Like not everybody can go to Burning Man either. I think you can, but there's
you pay for it, you can go.
There's a class of folks that go, right?
Yes. But
and
again, that's
probably rich hippies, rich hippie aristocrats.
You know what? Not even anymore. One of my good girlfriends who I do brunch with was there. And she went for the first time last year and couldn't stop raving about it, no pun intended. And then when I heard what was going on, I reached out to her just hoping she had cell service. Actually heard back from her about 20 minutes before you went live. She finally made it to Las Vegas, and she's flying out at 3:30 to get back home here to Tampa. She said it was a very different experience this time, but she's not a hippie. She just, likes doing drugs.
Okay. But it's like it's a different class of drug users, though. It's not like ones you see on the street that are slouching down with an unlit cigarette in their mouth that are, don't have any homes. These are, I guess, the responsible drug users who are able to not fall into the K-hole or whatever hole drugs that you use, and you can still hold down and be a functional drug user.
Well, it's the difference between recreational use and addiction. So I think most of the drugs there are fun drugs. Like you rarely meet anyone who's addicted to Molly or addicted to LSD. They're addicted to fentanyl and heroin, which maybe goes down there, but honestly, it's probably unlikely. It's mostly about, I'm sure there's cocaine, but it's mostly about the psychedelics. The LSD and the ketamine, even though that's technically a dissociative drug, but it has psychedelic properties. So
there's I know I know what you mean. As far as addiction, it's mostly opiates or fentanyl now, heroin. Um, I do have some friends that burn their brains out on MDMA, like burned out that gland from doing it too much, and now they're weird.
It's honestly possibly. I mean, it messes with your serotonin levels. So usually, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but I've been to festivals where I did drugs 3 days in a row, and when you come back, you're burned, you're depressed. But usually, within a few days, you're back to baseline. But it does mess with you. So, and I know what it's like to, I went to Okeechobee, and then I'm like, let me get the f out of here, and it was just a 2-hour drive. So to be coming down off all that stuff and then have to stay there for an extra like 5 days, and you're probably like crapping yourself and you don't have any food, I can imagine that's probably a very, very bad experience.
I think so. What happened? There was some sort of flood or rain that took place, and it
Yes.
turned the desert into mud. Was it a lot of rain, or was it just consistent enough to just make this desert into a mud pit?
Yeah, I'm not sure on the volume. All I know it disabled anybody from coming in or leaving. So
It was,
nobody could leave or get in. Maybe it was just too thick to drive your car through, and you just get stuck. So people were just kind of were stuck there. Nobody could get in or out. So that's kind of scary, especially if you run into a medical crisis.
it
Uh,
was funny. It was funny seeing this. Like, it's about radical self-expression and love, and just this hippie kind of mentality, and then seeing the videos of people running goers down trying to escape the giant mud pit. Like, I don't know if you saw any of the videos of people. Let me see if I can find some online. Just driving RVs through crowds of people to try to get
oh,
out of this hellhole.
like a George Costanza like fashion where you're just pushing people out of the way
Yes.
of the fire. Yeah.
Yes, but it's also about love and,
Well, love from the said dates. It ended on August 31st, I think, somewhere around there. So the love and the peace was over. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it was just for those days.
for those dates, that 2 week block.
The festival was over and it was time to go. And that means get out of my way or
That's
I
right.
will run you over with my RV.
Right, precisely.
I'm trying to find some of these videos of that, but I can't. I can't. Oh, what a shame. Those were good though. I did like it, and I'm sure
I
if you
need
look hard
to.
enough.
I haven't seen those because I just got back and I've just been kind of in a Denver K-hole, I guess, myself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
getting back to reality now.
Mm. So good. Everybody. I know that the president was briefed on it. He had more to say about Burning Man than about Maui, but that's neither here nor there.
Both involved to burn. Bad joke.
Well,
Sorry.
one's his donor class and one's probably not.
Right, right,
People.
right.
This chick that's on the screen voted for Joe Biden. I think that's
Oh, without a doubt, or Hillary, depending on when the photo was taken.
yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. So that's his folks. So he wanted to make sure. I was waiting for the helicopters to start airlifting selected folks out of there, and then much like the Afghanistan withdrawal, we just have these people holding on to the wheels of the aircraft and then just falling. Those images that are all burned into our brains from that
oh
Afghanistan
god,
withdrawal.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
another one under Joe Biden's watch, this time of little hippie aristocrats falling from the tires of
yeah.
these aircrafts. Would have been a sight to behold and would have been my new Facebook wallpaper if it did happen. Maybe I can find a way to Photoshop that instead of poor, Afghanis, it would be this chick falling from a helicopter. That would be
Yeah. Well, she is attractive, and
yeah, I'm getting a
I
boner.
think
I
she's
gotta
very
get rid of
tested.
this chick.
Yeah,
Let me get rid of her. I gotta figure out how now.
I like her Burger King crown. That's special.
Yeah, the feathers. This must have been pre the past few years. 'Cause I don't think you're allowed to wear feathers anymore. Though it wasn't a headdress, it was more just feathers and some sort of crown. So
Yeah, of
maybe that's the new way of getting around it. You can't wear the headdress, obviously, because of Native Americans.
course, that's appropriation. We can't be doing that.
You know, they're going to, speaking of that, there's a petition going around to name the Washington football team, who is now called the Commanders, who will not be called the Commanders for long because there's a copyright on the Commanders that's not owned by the Washington Football Club. So they're going to have to change names again. And now there's a petition going around to have the R words brought back.
That's what I heard. I didn't know about all the Commander copyright issue, but I did know that there was a petition where some tribes were like, no, we actually wanted that. That brought us, I don't know, good publicity or some sort of, maybe they were getting the kickbacks.
Representation.
Yeah, whatever it was, they were happy about it. And white people, once again, had to go in and ruin things by telling them, no, you are offended. So we'll take care of it and we'll do it our way.
Well, I've been seeing a lot of, and I've always seen it, but I kind of just, for some reason, it kind of clicked in my head semi-recently. Like, everybody's playing the identity game. People on the left, people on the right do the same thing. You'll have like the Citizen Free Press on Twitter, which is like kind of like right-wing Drudge Report.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, post a video of some random black dude on TikTok saying how much he loves Trump. And they're like, see, the hood loves Trump. Black people like Trump. Like, well, that's one.
Yeah.
You got one there. I mean, obviously it's a landslide. He's not popular in the black community at all.
Yeah.
Overwhelmingly so, like 70, 80%. But they're like, oh, nope, it's cool. This guy's cool. And then like Johnny and I were talking about this week is, yeah, there's tribes that want it back. And I go, yeah, but there's ones that don't too. Like there's no voice. There's no like one person who gets to speak for everybody. Everybody's kind of got varied opinions about things. And it's not just based on what your color your skin is, or, you know, who you bang or whatever. Like there's nuance in people's opinions. There may be a trend, maybe a pattern. There may be like 7% thing.
Yeah, there
We're always
is.
able to find outliers.
Yeah, I agree with that. It should be that way. It should be that, you know, you can't just guess someone's politics based on the color of their skin or the way that they dress. But unfortunately, a lot of times you can, and that's we talk about this all the time. You can't just pretend like every day is your first day on planet Earth. You know, like there were a bunch of people on the flight last night that were of questionable chromosomal makeup, lots of fingernail polish on people that I thought maybe had the Y, and a lot of shaved heads on females, and rainbow everything. And I looked at them, and it probably wasn't likely that they voted for Trump. Like that was my first thought. I'm like, I can probably
that's true.
You know, I wish it wasn't the case, but it is. And that's why we have, and then people get all mad about stereotypes. But then if you assume someone who has like a rainbow flag on and they're Democratic, like they would almost be offended if you thought anything else other than that. It's like, okay, so you want to be labeled a certain way, even though you claim to hate labels, but you certainly would be offended if someone thought that you were right wing or something.
You're right. That's pattern recognition. That's a little different. But if you're taking somebody who's not wearing symbols, you know, somebody who doesn't have a rainbow flag or something, doesn't have nail, like there's things like these are just things, accoutrements to people. You can't just look at them and be like, I know how this person thinks. If they have the accoutrements on, yes, you can kind of tell if they got the coexist sticker on the back of their car. Yeah, you kind of know where they stand. If they have a thin blue line sticker on the back of their car, yeah, you can kind of tell how they feel about climate change, you know, not just police lives mattering. I mean, these are political symbols. They're not, you know, they're displaying points of view and kind of signaling to their own tribe, this is what they are. For some reason, people feel the need to do that. I guess it's the same thing like wearing a Bucks hat or something too. You want
to team, it's your tribe. But you're talking about just your straight up your race or like I mean, it shouldn't be that way, but unfortunately a lot of times it is. Especially, and I, you know, not that I'm trying to single out the black community, but it's a minority of people. You know, it's hard to put, not hard to put all white people in one category, but there's just so many more white people in America are black. And it seems like, again, according to the statistics I've looked at somewhat recently, that it's somewhere between 89 to 90% of Black people vote blue. So, I mean, that's a landslide when it comes to, thought and ideology and a group of people.
Yeah, it says here, well, that's 2020, so it's probably gone up a little bit since then, but 80% of Black men supported Joe Biden, this is according to NBC, slightly down from Hillary Clinton's 82% in 2016. And I think Trump's got, so what is he? He's probably
What
at
about
like,
Black women, though? I mean,
oh, I'm sure overwhelmingly.
right. So,
Yeah. And unfortunately, looking on Google, you're not going to find
super
find
active.
research easily. You're going to have to really dig for it. I don't have it in front of my face. So
Yeah.
I
But
think
it's,
it's trended up a little bit. Like they say, and it's like factual but not truthful. So they'll be like, Trump has the most Black support of any former president ever. Yeah, that's true, but you're talking like 22%. It's not like a huge number. I guess that could potentially change the electoral map depending on if these votes are cast or something, because sometimes it's really close. But it's not I mean, you know what I mean? Like yes, but no, you know?
yeah.
I don't know. We have a few more minutes, and I did see this story last week, and I don't think we got a chance to talk about it. Have you, I mean, I know that you tried the online thing, and I also know that you were a bit more cautious than other women out there. You're a little smarter than the average bear. Would you ever go on a trip with a man you just met online?
Have I met him in person yet or no?
So this story here, this is a story. This man ghosts a woman by sneaking out of a hotel room after flying her to Miami on just their second date. So she had met him before. He flew her down to Miami for a little vacay, and then he just like packed up his stuff while she was sleeping and left and ghosted her. And I feel bad for this broad, but also, what are you doing?
Who
You in your mind?
who paid for it? Him, I'm assuming?
He did. He did. He paid for her to go out there.
All right, I'd love to hear this little clip here.
I'm afraid she's gonna cuss, but I guess I can just bleep it out. Let me mark the time here just in case. Okay, got it. All right, let's play this.
Guys, this guy flew me to Miami for our like second date for like a vacation thing, and I'm pretty sure he ghosted me while we were here. Like he left. I have no idea why, and I know this sounds like naive. I really don't think it was anything I did, but TBD, because I don't know why he left or when he left or how he drove, but whatever. We're gonna call him Michael for the purpose of this story. So yesterday, Michael was like, oh, I'm going to go get lunch with my sister really quickly. I haven't seen her in 2 years. I'll be back at noon. I was like, okay, cool. Just don't forget, we have these hard to get lunch reservations at 1:30. He's like, yeah, I'll be back before that. So I went to the pool, minded my business, soaking up the sun. At 1:10, I was like, hey, where are you? Like, don't forget about lunch. No answer. And then at 1:20, I said, where are you? Like, are you picking me up for lunch? Because he has his car here. Like, he drove a couple of hours away from Tampa. And I was like, hey, like, where are you? Then I started getting really frustrated, and I texted him something like, yo, this is just so disrespectful to me and my time, and like blah, blah, blah. And he's like, hey, sorry to be non-responsive. I just found out some devastating news, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm a very caring person. I don't think that's the word, but I'm a very trusting person. So I was like, oh yeah, like something happened, which to this time, I feel like something still happens. My friend don't think that something happened. They're like, oh, he definitely has a secret wife who was like, get your ass home. But it gets worse. I pushed the reservation back to 2. He misses that reservation too. And like, this is before he told me he had this quote devastating incident. And so housekeeping, and I promise this is important, housekeeping ends up coming. And I was like, okay, like this is at 3:30, I think. I was like, you can come on in. And after they made the bed, I took a nap. And so obviously they cleaned the shower too, which is important. And as I'm getting ready to go hang out with some of my other friends, I was like, fuck this. And I think this is still before I knew what happened. Actually, I think I knew that there's this quote devastating event. And so then I look around and I look in the corner and I realize his stuff's not there. I was like, did he come get his stuff while I was taking a nap? Like, that is so disrespectful. And there is the possibility that he possibly got it while I was at the pool and he was supposed to be home by noon and like all of that. That could have possibly been when he got it, but I don't know because we're both very clean when we travel. So our stuff is like very compacted, almost looks like somebody's bedroom. But if he did get it while I was napping, that's disrespectful. And I noticed this morning when I was showering that there was a washcloth that was wet in there. I was like, did he get his stuff and then shower? Because housekeeping would have cleaned it up yesterday if he had showered before they came. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, that would be so disrespectful. My friends like, were you sleeping through all of this? I was like, yeah, I'm a tank. So not quite sure what's happening right now. I'll keep you guys updated. I'm going to go run up some room service. Anyway, here's the first of many pina coladas on his tab. Thank you.
Wow. What a tale. Well, she said something in there that they're both very clean when they travel. How would she know? This is her second date with this man going on vacation.
I don't know. Maybe he mentioned that he's clean. I don't know. I don't know. That's a crazy story, but I'm glad she's okay. Like he didn't murder her or something.
That's what I'd be concerned about. I mean, I can't imagine the possibility. I wouldn't do this as a man. I wouldn't go on a vacation. Like if a chick was like, hey, come to, Miami, I'll fly you down. I'd be like, no, I don't think so. I mean, well, she'd have to be really hot. Let's just put it that way in order for me to do something like that. But that just seems dangerous. I was always afraid. I know that, and obviously the stakes are higher for gals, but there was, stories of men being robbed on Tinder. These women would match with men and then they would walk in
He
and
would talk about this openly, especially when she was a stripper. I mean, I know it's a little bit of a different situation, but still.
It does happen. So I can't imagine getting to the point where you're like, yeah, I'll just go meet a man that I met one time in a place. I'm sure she did all the things like talk to her girlfriends. I mean, if you don't hear from me, I've been murdered. That whole thing. But unfortunately, you're dead. If you take that risk.
Yeah, that's certainly scary. It does make me feel a little bit better that he wanted to meet her in a hotel versus like a secluded Airbnb. Because at least if you're in a hotel and you start screaming, people probably come help you out. So that would make me feel a little bit better, but still, that is way too soon to be sharing a space with someone where you can't really just like go home right away.
So I guess this man, they found out, the internet sleuths got a hold of this video and found out that he was just a married guy. So he just got a hotel room, lied to her, said that, they were dating and then banged her and then either felt bad and went, back home to his wife or was just done with her. And
no, he was probably getting caught. Something went awry is what happened there. At least as far as my feelers were, she was probably like, "Why is your location in Miami? I thought you were da da da." And then he was like, "Oh, because of this," and then just goes home.
Yeah, so that's probably what it was. But I mean, oh my God, it could have been so much worse for this poor broad.
Yeah.
I feel bad for her, but also, what are you thinking? B word? I just can't.
Yeah, and especially when stuff like that happens, that's pretty embarrassing. I also find it odd, although I'm grateful because we get to hear about it, but I find it odd that people want to broadcast what happened.
Yeah, like
I would be like, oh my God, I'm so dumb. Why did I do that? I just want to forget about this. But other people are just like, oh my God, this crazy thing happened to me. And I'm like, you telling people, but also thank you.
How many TikTok followers did she get from this? Like sometimes it's worth it, like humiliating yourself. I do it every day. I humiliate myself daily. So do you on the radio. Like it's part of the thing. I don't think I'd put it on social media like that, but if this happened to me, I would definitely talk about it on the radio or on the podcast or something. So what's the difference? She doesn't have that outlet. All she has is her TikTok.
Well, here's the thing: is like you and I are trying to entertain, and we always like take the piss out of ourselves a lot, and we talk about how we're dumb and stupid and stuff like that. I don't think she's doing that. If she was like a comedian and she was using this as part of her shtick, then perhaps. But it seems like she's just like you could even hear her. She's like, I really thought something bad happened, even though my friends were telling me like, no, he's just married, he's going home. So I think there's an element of like she doesn't think she's dumb. you know, or as you and I are like, we
People don't know
can't
they're dumb.
believe we did. If she went online and she was like, guys, I can't believe I did this. I met this guy. He's obviously married. You know, at least then you can kind of relate to that. You're like, okay, you're competent enough to know that you're an idiot, where she's not. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's well, like I said, just could be worse. And I think that none of us would do this. I know you wouldn't either. I was kind of going to put the question to you. Would you do this? Obviously, no. The answer is no. You wouldn't do this. And neither
yeah,
would
to be fair, Will, and I'm not going to get too much in the weeds on this. I've done some dumb stuff where I could have gotten hurt in my past, for sure. Like probably worse than that, honestly.
Like what?
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah, it actually happened in Miami as well. I went to Miami in 2013 for a grad school conference, and my good friend from California, who you've met, ended up coming out since I was there, anyways. And I would spend the days going to the conference, like a lecture or two, and then the nights partying. And I think it was the last. It was the last night. I had lost my phone the night before, so I was without a phone for about a few days in Miami, and we met these guys at a club. One of whom I remember was a Hispanic Cuban man with a giant Star of David around his neck. I don't know why that made me feel like I could trust him more. It shouldn't have. But I think I remember asking him about it. Now, mind you, I was drunk, not wasted, but I was drunk. And I remember asking him about it. And I think he just thought it was like cool art, which I thought was bizarre. Like, oh, you're just doing it like for the aesthetics, like the Jew aesthetics. That's weird. Anyways, he had a helmet with him at this club. And I was like, why do you have a helmet? Knowing full well why. He's like, oh, I rode my motorcycle here. Cool. So him and his friend both rode their motorcycles to this club to hang out. And I was trying to convince my friend to go on a ride with them because they had offered up a ride if we wanted to go around Miami. So I'm like, yo, I got this cute friend. I just got to find her. She would love to go. And when I found my friend, she was talking to some loser from El Salvador salsa dancing. And I was like trying to shake her. I'm like, I need you to let go of this guy because we could go on a motorcycle ride together. And she declined and said she didn't want to go because she was talking to this guy. So we all met at my hostel or hotel, or I think it was like more of a hostel, to be honest with you. And I'm talking to my friend and I'm like, I don't have a phone. And she's like, I don't want to go. And I'm looking at the two guys at the motorcycle and she's looking at her guy from El Salvador. And I swear to God, Will, I turned to the guys at the motorcycle and I go, listen, I really, really, really want to go, but I don't want you to like rape me or anything. I'm a little scared. I'm like, will you promise you won't rape me? And they said, we won't rape you.
And he said, I can't promise. I can do my best. No
And
promise.
I went on the motorcycle ride of a freaking lifetime at like 5 a.m. through Miami when was it? It probably was like in the middle of summer, like a beautiful summer night, going freaking 70 on a motorcycle, just riding like a little hot bitch on the back. And I was fine. Now, could have ended very badly.
Yeah.
But it was a chance I took and it paid off. Now, would I do that today at 36? If I'm single and whatever? Hell no. Obviously not.
Right.
But dumb idiot 25-year-old Anna, she might do that.
Well, and most people are good believers. Sometimes it's hard to finagle that in your brain, but most people are good. There are a lot of bad ones too, but most of the time you're fine.
Right, but the cost of
Sure.
someone is good when they're bad is detrimental to your life.
For you, yeah, because you weigh 8 pounds and you're a tiny lady. Yeah, I mean, so but you ended up having a great time, and that'll be something that you'll probably remember, the rest of your life. A great
Absolutely.
experience.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. Sometimes there's a little bit of risk involved to get those experiences. So
that's what makes them fun. Sometimes you're like, this is risky, this is dangerous.
That's right.
I would never do something like that again, obviously. But at that time, thank I don't believe in God, but whoever the gods that be, nothing happened to me. So I was very lucky.
Yeah, amen to that. Anna, quickly before we go, we're out of time. Buccaneers are playing the Minnesota Vikings this Sunday. Podcast will be released on Sunday. Who wins? Who do you got? Buccaneers and score.
Oh, sure. Well, the Vikings are going to win. And the score will be 42-19.
Oh my God, that's a slaughter.
It's bad. It's going to be real bad.
That's a slaughter. That very well could happen, Anna. You know what? I'm going on. This is going to set the trend for the Buccaneers. This is going to be a make or break game. Game 1 is going to decide the whole season. If they lose 42-19, that's it. We're done the rest of the season. I'm going to say the Bucs squeak one out, 24-21. Surprise everybody out of the gate. And hopefully we're into a good year with Baker Mayfield era coming in. Anna, thank you so much. A pleasure as always. And I'm looking forward to talking to you again next week, maybe even sooner. Who knows?
Sounds good. All right. Hopefully you don't have COVID. Otherwise, stay away from me. All right.
See you later.
Bye, Will.
You can catch me tonight, I think at 10 on the Johnny B Show. And guess that's it, right? Time to go. Follow the show, share it if you would. That would really help me out. You know, all the stuff's down there. If you want to get a hold of us there, any comments, questions, whatever. I always appreciate those. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you tonight at 10.